I'll put it out there and say, being black in lockdown has been another level. Welcome to your Millennial Unfiltered Mother podcast, aka your mum podcast. I'm your host, Christiana, and I'm back with another episode. Apologies that it's taken quite a long time to release another one, but listen, in lockdown, it's not just because I'm in lockdown doesn't mean that, I have all the motivation in the world to be doing all of these things that I kind of feel like I should be doing. Sometimes, no, I'm not in the mood. I'm genuinely not in the mood to talk about anything. When we talk about COVID, when we talk about just any and everything, sometimes I just need to process. I need to process things in my head first before I start ranting because, it's not like I want to filter myself because I do kind of feel like when I have the most to say is when I press record and I'm just going. But there are times where I just don't want to say nothing. I just want to just sort of feel what I feel, think what I think. But one of the things I've continuously thought and I've felt is that, being a black woman, I've had to deal with stuff, during this lockdown, quote unquote. So as I'm releasing this episode, we're kind of in lockdown. We're not actually really, but we're kind of. As in, the advice is still to stay home if you do not need to go to work. Right? If your work is not essential, if you can't work from home, all right, cool, go to work. But, just what's their dumbass slogan? Stay alert, control the virus, save lives. Is all words that they've combined together and said, yeah, this is the slogan. It don't make no sense. Do you understand? And a part of me is like, cool, this is new for them as well. They don't know what they're doing, cool. But as leaders, they need to make sense. Don't release the most vaguest of statements and then say, yeah, that's it. Because you're only just being annoying now. And you're, giving people reason to just create their own rules and do things how they want. And I personally think that's fine because it is annoying that there's so much outrage. People saying, oh, but what if we want to do this and what if we want to do that? Simply apply common sense. Insert common sense. Do you understand? Stop. They don't need to dictate every single move you make. Do you understand? At the end of the day, there's still a virus out there. People are still dying. If you don't need to go to work or, it's impossible for you to work from home, then go to work. Stop saying, oh, but what? Just live your life, man. Like, seriously. And just use sense. Apply sense. All these people needing, direction to when to do things. It's like, come on, bruv. Like, simple sense, and then you'll be right as rain. But anyway, back to the matter. Back to what this podcast is about, what I initially said. Being in lockdown, there's been so many things that's been going on, yeah? Black people have been getting it in the neck. Let's not even downplay it, yeah? We've been getting it in the neck through many, 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 many mediums. And it's difficult because when you're in quarantine and all you have is the media, all you have is the news, all you have is social media and things like that. And as far as I'm concerned, the majority of stuff that I've been seeing is just, some racist, some colorist, like all types of really, really hurtful and just stupid stuff. And I feel like black people are getting the brunt of it. Not only that, when we're talking about, COVID-19, we cannot ignore the fact that it is affecting black people more than anyone else. The coronavirus is affecting black, Asian, and minority ethnics the most. That is nothing but fact. And I'm glad, because I remember, and I said it in a previous podcast, I remember saying when they started to release sort of names of the frontline NHS workers who sadly passed away due to the coronavirus, it was the first thing I mentioned. I was like, Why are they all like Asian? Why? I was just like, what's going on here? Immediately I was like, what? The nurses, some of them were, loads of them were black, loads of them were Asian. It was like, wait, what's going on here? Immediately it was a question for me. I did question myself to say, you come on now, you like, it could just be a coincidence. But then I said, snapped out of it, and I said, nah, which kind of coincidence is this? Like, what's really actually going on here? And then as the weeks passed and more of the frontline workers were dying, all I could see were like black faces, Asian faces. And I was like, okay, come on now. So when I did see that there was an investigation, I thought, okay, great. It's not all in my head. Because when you look at the statistics, I'm not going to come on in and give you all false statistics. I don't know exactly the numbers, but I do know that a higher percentage of the people that are dying are black. But black people are lower in counts in the community. Does that make sense? So black people make up, let's say, 20% of that community, yet like 56 to 60% of them are dying from the coronavirus. So how does that add up? This is when we need to start raising our eyebrows. A reason could be that they make up the majority of the frontline workers. It's the same. That's the case everywhere. Black and Asian minority ethnics make up of the majority of the frontline workers, hence why they're being hit the hardest. That is a viable reason. I'm hearing all kinds of reasons as to why this could be. And I'm just glad that they're actually doing the research, because it's very important. We need to know what we need to do to protect ourselves. More than just staying at home, more than just social distancing. There is a science to it. There has to be. And I'm glad that, there's research being done, this is there's science behind it now, so that we can be properly advised as to how we can avoid contracting the coronavirus. Because this is long, yeah? Me just sitting at home and staying away from everybody is not a long-term plan. So what else can be done? I need more vitamin D. Okay, I'll now start topping up my vitamin D supplements, because I'm not out in the sun every day. There's not much sun around here anyway. So I can get the vitamin D supplements. What else? I can take blood tests. What else? Like, I need information. Don't just tell me to sit in my yard because it's unproductive as far as I'm concerned. I know it's helping to some degree, but right now, this ain't no lockdown. Let's stop calling it lockdown. Let's stop calling it quarantine, because nobody has been quarantined. Some may. I do believe that some actually have not left the four walls of their house. Some of them more vulnerable. But we can't keep calling it quarantine because we ain't quarantined. Like, quarantine, if you really want to define quarantine, you are literally isolated from any and every, you are really, really isolated. And none of us have been doing that. Let's have it all the way right. Especially more recently. I needed some fresh air, so I went for a walk. And I just moonwalked my way back home, because the amount of people out, you would not have called it a lockdown. It's not a lockdown. There were reports in the news that the police are just outnumbered. They're just like, look, we can't control this. And they're controlling it wrong anyway. They are so heavy-handed when it comes to black people and Asian people. And that is fact. We have seen video evidence of the police using their power to abuse us. Yet they want to be gathering at Westminster Bridge to clap. Like, let's have it all the way right. Do you understand? The police are not helping us. The police are not working for us. They're not there to protect us. And that's something that I'm saying boldly, because, again, being black in quarantine and watching all of these videos of just the brutality, of just the heavy-handedness, arrests. Why are you arresting people? They're not breaking the law. The guidelines clearly state you can go out, help the vulnerable, you could do this, you could do that. Do you understand? No one said, if you want a problem, then deal with these wishy-washy rules. But people are literally doing what they have every right to do. So you're coming with your heavy-handedness and are making arrests for what? Bombarding mosques and all the rest of them. But all of them look down in Cheshire or wherever the hell that Cosham, wherever the hell that video was, where it was celebrating in the street, there weren't a blue light in sight. So what's going on here? We're clearly a target. So moving away from, the coronavirus types of things, what makes it hard, let's move to social media. I've discussed some of this in a previous episode about I literally cannot open an app. I cannot open an app, right, where there isn't some kind of someone being called out for their racist content, someone being called out just for their colorism, old tweets being dredged back up, and it's an attack on black people, specifically dark-skinned people, or like East Africans. People are just getting attacked. And I also can't stand the people who felt the need to dredge these old tweets. But these tweets, we're talking about tweets that were 8-7 years old. Do you understand? And whoever dredged them up knew that it was going to be, hurtful, and there was going to be an outrage. You're not helping anyone, because a lot of these people have moved on from that kind of way of thinking. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just being in quarantine. It's like, how much stuff do I have to see that is just sort of harmful, racist content? If I open Instagram, someone's pulled up something from Twitter or TikTok that's racist, or something that's already done on Instagram. I don't even open TikTok anymore. If I open TikTok, it's just racist content that I'm just seeing. If I open Twitter, someone's cancelled, and it always tends to be black. Or we watch videos where black people are coming together, as one, to condemn the police for how they've treated another black person, or to condemn politicians about this, or to, rally together. And it's just like, if it's not one thing, it's another. So that's why I say, look, being black in quarantine is a different level it's just another level. It is another level, because I just kind of feel like in every direction, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. And it's like, it's not easy. It's like really boredom really starts to show people's true colours. We can't keep having these kinds of conversations. We can't keep dealing with these types of things, because, we are progressing in this world as black people. We're being noticed more. We're being louder. We're being represented better. But there is still so much work to be done. And if anything, quarantine has proved it. So let's be loving up on each other, because this is some joke thing, as far as I'm concerned. It's a joke thing. So even going back to, the police and how they're behaving, we're already seeing footage of how they're behaving post sort of strict lockdown. People are allowed to go to the parks, and people are allowed to do what they want to do. And to be fair, with the rules being all wishy-washy, people are going to just sort of take matters into their own hands and do what they want. And for me, it was like, right, one of the first things I thought was, this is going to be a chance for the police to just go mad and just start attacking. There's footage of the police trying to break up a gathering, and they're just arresting, a guy for it just didn't seem like any reason. There wasn't much context, but all we saw was the arrest being made, and they were yanking him, putting him to the ground, kneeing him in the balls, and doing all of that heavy-handed stuff yet again. But really and truly, they're not breaking any laws. They're outside getting air. They're outside doing what they want. Do you understand? And it's like, it's enough of seeing all this annoying footage. Do you know what I mean? A good thing I would say is that, a lot of us have come together, even celebrities and everything, to watch, the versus battles that Swiss Beats and Timbaland are putting on IG Live. That I've been watching them from the very start, from when Swiss Beats and Timbaland did theirs, up until the recent day. And I'm really, really so much enjoying it. I'm so much enjoying it. I think it's great. I think, I love reading the comments and everybody reminiscing on all the hip hop and R&B that we grew up on and celebrating that music. And I think it's great. And I kind of feel like there needs to be a lot more instances where we come together and just unite as one. There should never be an instance, especially during this sort of kind of lockdown, where we're tearing each other down, because I'm telling you now, the whole world is already doing it to us. So let's not even do it to each other. Let's continue to be strong, look out for each other, have each other's backs. If your brethren is trying to throw a house party and do all of that madness, don't go. Or tell your brethren to just allow it, because this is still very much out there and we need to sort of be careful. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say on the matter. If you want to have a chat to me on the podcast, send me an email at yourmumpodcast@gmail.com and we can have a conversation. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.